How would you like to get out of the county jail and get shot 64 times? Well, that's just what happened to KTS Dre. His real name was Londre Sylvester and he was 31 years old. The KTS stood for Kill to Survive, and that phrase was tattooed on his neck with the target symbol. How ironic. Now, Sylvester had just been released from custody and he was supposed to get fitted for an electronic ankle monitor as a condition of his bail.
Developing this morning, a man is dead after a shooting right in front of the Cook County Jail.
So Dre and a 60-year-old woman were walking to an awaiting vehicle when several still unknown suspects jumped out of two separate cars, boxed him in, and began to shoot in Sylvester's direction, hitting him numerous times, the police report said. 59 shell casings littered the 2700 block of West 27th Street in Little Village, right across the street from the jail, around 8:50 p.m. And the 31-year-old was taken to Mount Sinai Hospital, where he was pronounced dead less than a half hour later. And the police report said he suffered as many as 64 bullet wounds to his head and other parts of his body, but it's going to be a couple weeks for the full autopsy, though the results will be obvious. Now, attempts to reach the 60-year-old woman who was shot were unsuccessful. And a second woman, a 30-year-old who was walking in the area at the time, suffered a graze wound to her mouth, according to a police report. Now, if he was 31 and the woman with him was 60, sounds like his mother just bailed him out and he got her shot while he was killed, reminiscent of Honeycomb Brazy. But at least this time it was the rapper who got killed. Londre, aka KTS Dre, was in jail for violating bond on a 2020 gun case. He went in July 1st, and within a week or so, his loved ones or friends came up with the 5 G's to get him out of Cook County Jail. Like I said, he was supposed to go get an electronic ankle monitor, aka a tether, but whoever wanted to get their get back didn't even give him that chance. And I'm not here to promote the war in Chirac like DJ Twerpidemic, but it bears mentioning the 3-sided gang beef he was mixed up in. Dre was from Lakeside, the area, and part of the Kill to Survive clique, which pairs vice lords and gangster disciples down on the east side of Chicago, which is anything on the south side east of State Street and includes some of Chicago's most violent neighborhoods. Some people have added up an incredible and disturbing and dark and sad 21 murders from the KTS and Lakeside versus Terrortown beef. Now, the Cook County Jail is the size of 72 NFL football fields. It's been under a federal consent decree since 1980. Which means the county admits the jail is poorly run and the feds can take it over if they don't fix it, but this has been going on for 40 years. Divisions 9 and 10 of the Cook County Jail form the largest single-site jail in the country, and it's also been described as one of the most violent, according to experts at a federal hearing about the violence guards inflict on inmates there. At that hearing, they showed a video of an inmate bent over in cuffs at his waist, and his handcuffs were pulled up all the way above his head, and he was screaming as the guards led him to an elevator. Give you an idea of how chaotic and dangerous Cook County is, inmates can sign themselves into protective custody at any time. Well, that makes it a prime location to find an inmate you've targeted for attack. So if we're on 2 different tiers and I want to get at you, they keep us apart. But if I know you went into protective custody, I can sign myself in and boom, I'm on you. That sounds like the opposite of protection to me. Now, there's also all the riots and, of course, the blunder of placing guys from rival gangs into the same cell, resulting in murder. Oops.
This 24-year-old Cook County Jail detainee is now facing new charges, accused of beating his cellmate to death. Christian Gonzalez was already in jail for attempted murder charges. Now he faces a first-degree murder charge for the death of his cellmate, 19-year-old Pedro Ruiz. The Cook County Sheriff's Office says the two were members of rival gangs.
So it's bad enough that the police can't keep you safe inside the county jail that they put you in, but they seem to be throwing released inmates to the literal wolves. The jail sits in a little village community which is full of gangs, and one writer compared leaving the county jail to the Hunger Games and described the area directly outside the jail like this, quote, "A couple blocks east on 26th Street, as you get closer to the jail, the landmarks begin to change, as if the neighborhood has been hit by a sudden disrupting force and brought to a halt. Storefronts and people slowly vanish. The only people you see in public seem to be gang members walking their turf. Residents have erected iron fences. It's difficult even to ring a doorbell. Move still farther east and graffiti tags cover walls, garages, and trash cans. Alleys filled with garbage and hubcaps and tires. Bar owners welcome patrons with signs that threaten that the police will be called for drugs, panhandling, prostitution, or weapons. If you come to jail in the summer and get out in the winter, guess what? You get to deal with deadly cold Chicago winter. If you come to jail in the summer and get out in the winter, guess what? You get to deal with deadly cold Chicago winter temperatures without a coat. And whatever cash you came in with, if it wasn't stolen, is given to you in a check. But the nearest check cashing place is a 15-minute walk away through heavy gang territory. Now, there used to be a Popeye's chicken on Kedzie that was considered a gang neutral zone, as everyone knew that guys were getting out with no coat, no money, and bus passes that wouldn't even get them all the way home. So people would post in there and call around for a ride or whatever, but a few years ago that Popeyes started getting shot up, or maybe people inside the Popeyes were getting shot at. But either way, it's no more neutral zone. So if you don't have a ride waiting for you, danger awaits you outside the gates of the Cook County Jail. Or if someone's been tracking you in lockup and watching your bond status, they can just sit in front of the jail, wait for you to come out and kill you. Now, whatever was behind the murder of KTS Dre, whatever you think about him or gang members or criminals, the fact that huge amounts of tax dollars goes to fund a gigantic jail facility that lets a team of cold killers squat at the front door and shoot a guy 64 times and then just drive off is such a monumental disaster that you can see why the phrase defund the police has at least a little bit of steam behind it. Now, this wasn't the first time such an orchestrated hit occurred outside the jail or its neighboring courthouse. March 6th, 2017, a 23-year-old man who beat a murder case was shot and killed minutes after leaving the jail. Kamari Belmont had been in jail for murder and armed robbery. He beat the murderer, and then his friends bailed him out on the remaining armed robbery charge. And in this photo, you can see him walking out of the jail. And just moments later, he was a few blocks away on California Avenue when a white SUV pulled up to his car. Someone from the SUV opened fire, striking Belmont several times and killing him. Belmont had been held in the jail, like I said, on murder and robbery charges after he allegedly killed a man during a robbery in 2015 and robbed someone else a few hours later. If you're wondering how Belmont beat his murder, it was really the Cook County prosecutors doing it for him. The murder charges at the end of January 2017 were dropped after allowing too much time to elapse under the state's speedy trial statute. So if it wasn't for the Cook County prosecutors' gross incompetence, then the Cook County Jail's gross negligence in keeping the jail secure wouldn't have even mattered because he wouldn't have been getting out. And then there's more. 2 weeks after Belmont, a 21-year-old man suffered 6 gunshot wounds to the groin as he was walking to the court building right next to the jail. Now, someone from a white van opened fire in that instance, and the 21-year-old was struck by the gunshots, and he was taken to the same Mount Sinai in critical condition where he too died. Now, he only had a history of misdemeanor arrests, and oddly wasn't due in court the day he was shot. His lawyer said he didn't even know why he was going to the courthouse that particular day. And then on August 18th, 2017, a 28-year-old named Kenneth Williams was killed a few blocks away from the courthouse after an appearance on a charge of driving on a suspended license. And either someone followed him there or as the police said, he got into it with somebody outside, and he hopped into an SUV with a 26-year-old woman who picked him up, and they made it to 31st and Rockwell streets nearby. Someone pulled up in another car, opened fire, and hit Williams, who died at, guess where, Mount Sinai. R.I.P. to KTS Dre, along with a lot of people in these last 2 years of pandemic and criminal justice chaos. He fell victim to some type of vigilante justice. And right now in Cook County, Chicago, justice appears to be something you gotta go get for yourself. Al Prophet, Chirac, American Dope. Like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.